Hello, welcome to our podcast once again. And I am Anita Menon, and my co host is Ron Howard. And we are MH Consultants, a consulting company based in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Thank you for following our podcast for such a long time, and we are very happy with the feedback that we've received so far. Today's topic is super interesting for me, particularly, and Ron is just here like a prop. No. I mean, he's going to ask me. He's going to ask me questions. He's going to ask me questions about the topic that we have today, and it is digitalization. Can we afford not to?
Yes, you can afford not to.
You always have a contrarian view for nothing, Ron.
Oh, you do.
Cool. So let's just talk about our very austere breakfast here. Does it look austere?
It looks like it's 1,000 calories. If I just looking at that, I'm putting weight on. It's a bagel, isn't it?
It is a bagel
full of cream cheese
from the Great American Bagel Company.
I think our crew here would prefer to eat that.
Yes.
So I may leave that to them.
Okay, cool. So, Ron, about digitalization, shall we begin?
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is one topic that you weren't really looking forward to. And why is that, Ron?
It's just because it's something that you think coming more in the future, you immediately think it's better than what we have now.
Well, isn't that what life is all about? Being
Not-
better,
not
planning for the future.
Not necessarily that everything that you think is coming is better than now.
That I have to agree, completely agree,
But-
especially if it's unchecked.
Yes, but we're not going to agree on this, are we?
No. It's going to be an interesting podcast for our audience. So, okay, let me get down to what is digitalization. So, basically, digitalization, by the definition, is transforming business processes to use digital technologies instead of using analog or offline systems such as paper.
Indeed. And your business is digital marketing.
It is.
And why did you decide to set up this kind of business?
It's because it's very interesting and it is a thing of the future, and I enjoy all the things of the future. Okay, that's just a very simplistic answer. Well, when I started my company around 7 years ago, I was in consulting and I realized there was a gap in the market. And there were traditional advertising agencies and then there were IT companies, but there was no digital marketing company who could actually, do proper digital marketing for brands. So that is where I thought that this is a great gap to fill in, and I started the Butterfly Effect CO.
And 7 years on, have there been other entrepreneurs who've seen that gap and opened up businesses?
Absolutely. I mean, I see scores of digital marketing companies opening up left, right, and center. It has become a commodity business now, and everybody seems to be able to understand what they can offer to their clients and brands. And I don't see this slowing down at all.
So how have your customers benefited from digital marketing compared to traditional marketing?
Right. So customers generally now they feel and understand that digital is here to stay, and it's really important that they embrace digital marketing as soon as they can, or digitalization for that matter, as soon as they can, to just keep up their competitive edge. The first obvious advantage of, let's say, digital marketing would be the reach that a digital marketing platform or tool can offer a brand, and also to reach their specific target audience. It's not general marketing where a particular product is placed in front of the entire audience who doesn't need it. This particular product or service can be targeted to that specific audience that's most likely to buy that product or service.
Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not new.
It's not new?
No.
Oh.
It's only accelerating.
Oh, please tell me how.
I've always argued for a paperless office right back to the 1980s. I always thought using paper was inefficient and costly, writing on memos,
Right.
etc. So I remember an interview back in the 1980s when I went to one of the big four accounting companies in London.
Right.
I think it was 1988. And the interviewer introduced me to something called email. which was used instead of writing and putting in envelopes. And I was wonderstruck, and I thought maybe this will catch on. Email.
Well,
So
it certainly did catch on.
fast forward to 2021. The several companies that I've been associated with, of course, have email, computerized accounting systems, but they still work with enormous amounts of paper. That could be because the cost of labour is cheap, so many owners don't see the need to invest in expensive ERP systems, enterprise-wide resource
Right.
management. Also, the many SMEs have larger. There are more SMEs here than large organisations. So, because manpower is cheap, why use these expensive computerized, digitalized systems?
It's interesting you say that because brands that are ahead of the curve, they have both now. They have an office that's full of paper, where
Yes.
they have archived all their files and and all the paper that is generated because of different processes. But they also have a system, so they kind of want to be on both boats. It's interesting that they cannot let go of the paper at all, even though they are fully digitalized otherwise.
Okay, then, Anita, can you explain to these SME owners why digitalization is or will be beneficial to them?
I think the advantages are really obvious, Ron. I mean, you get data-driven customer insights, you get consolidated management information system, you get overall better customer experience. It overall gives a feeling of a digital culture. And then, why does anyone start a business, and why does anyone opt for change? Because it gives you profits in the long run, it increases productivity, and it also gives you an optimized supply chain. So I think these are just obvious advantages why they should look into being digitalized.
Wow, they're difficult to argue against, aren't they?
Yes. Okay, so I just told you about my interest and insight into digitalization and my personal experience having a digital company. What about you? What's your take on digitalization?
Well, I am actually in favour of it, believe it or not.
Oh, you would
Um,
have fooled me, Ron.
yes, I fooled you. I've just been involved with a company where we were asked to look for details of the rents received from properties from
Okay.
1985
Whoa.
to 2020. Now, that this
Yeah.
is only an example. Now, with digitalization, everything would have been freely available, wouldn't it? Just do that on a computer and up it comes. But it ended up that we had to go into some vast storeroom, looking through so many files. Finally, we found them, but it took a long, long time.
Okay.
On top of that, if a key member of staff leaves, they take that information with them, don't they?
Absolutely.
Which, if digitalization is there, again, it's immediately obvious,
Absolutely. I mean,
available.
yeah, I think digitalization allows in that case where obviously, employees are bound to leave sometimes. So if you
Yes.
create a center of excellence, or if you have standard processes on system, all that knowledge is not lost.
So I'm working with companies that still have invoices which are four part, carbon copies. One goes to the customer, two go to the customer,
Customer.
one's returned, one goes in the sales invoice file, one goes in the accounts
Yes.
file, and all you're doing is producing a lot of box files which take up a lot of room.
Absolutely.
So I am
absolutely.
actually I'm with it. Yes.
So why do you think that, in your experience, you work for these clients? Why do you think that they are so resistant to change, in that sense?
I'm used to having paper, same as I've got paper here. I feel comfortable with paper.
Yes.
I feel comfortable with dealing with my employees rather
Yes.
than just getting all the information myself.
Right.
I think there's a bit of an internal control issue. The internal controls for paperwork and storage are much more developed than they are for digitalization.
True.
I mean, I might be worried about hacking and things like this.
Right.
So But before I go on with that, we're setting up a little competition, aren't we,
We are.
on Instagram?
Yes.
Because internal control comes with a mnemonic,
Yes.
soap spam. SOAPSPAM. Each one of those is an internal control.
Okay.
And we're asking our listeners to access Instagram, is it?
Yes,
Yes,
Instagram.
Instagram, and tell us what soap spam is, what every letter what it stands for,
Okay.
and the winner gets what? A night out with me? No.
A breakfast with us.
Yes. Yes, a breakfast with us.
Yes.
Yes.
Am I
yes.
allowed to participate?
No, because you haven't put it on Instagram yet. So
So otherwise I can participate?
no.
Well, I eat breakfast
No,
with you
no,
anyway.
that's no. We're too internal for that, aren't we?
Oh yes, internal controls.
Yes. So
Cool.
I think it will come eventually, and it is coming, especially when a new generation of leaders and owners come through. But
Yes.
if I'm 55 years old and I've been running the business for 20 years, labour is cheap, paper is cheap. Yeah, it's a lot of effort to digitalise everything, isn't it?
That is true. But maybe a step can be taken in that direction where you stop right here and start digitalizing from that point on.
I
Do you
don't think we can turn that back. There may even be an issue of sustainability as well.
Okay.
The usage of all paper,
Right.
destroying the forests, etc. But
That
that's
is
another
true.
issue.
Absolutely. So, how do we change their minds, Ron? I mean, I feel very strongly about this subject.
We send you out there, Anita, to talk to them.
I will definitely talk to people whose minds need to be changed around digitalization for sure.
Yes.
Yes, and I think it's
Keep
also
at
about
it.
yes, I will for sure, and I do that on a daily basis with my digital company. Whenever I meet clients, I tell them the advantages of going digital, especially with their marketing.
I'm sure you've made progress in that in the
Yes.
7 years that you've been in business.
Yes, so yeah,
So keep it up.
and I think it's also important, especially you meet a big section of brands and clients who don't believe in it yet or are in a very nascent stage of digitalization. We need to build that confidence in them that they can take that step in that direction to be
Yes.
more global.
I really need to know how to approach them on that much better than I do at the moment.
So
Absolutely.
we can talk about that a lot
Okay,
later.
you can teach me.
Yes. So when I go and meet such a client, Ron, I tell them that your competitors are all embracing digital technologies and whether it's marketing or processes or whatever strategy on the whole. I think that's one way to induce them to at least look at it as a concept, as an idea, and then kind of execute it over a couple of years. So, Ron, I mean, you meet more clients who've not, embraced the digital culture yet. Don't you think you can talk to them and talk to them about their competitors, already adopting technology and getting ahead of the curve?
Absolutely, I will, but I need a bit of training from you first.
Sure, definitely, no problem. So, Ron, this brings us to our end of this podcast, and
Yes.
it was a healthy debate.
I enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah.
I usually ask how was the breakfast, but it hasn't moved.
It hasn't moved because it's a little daunting.
It's a little heavy for this time of day.
Yes, it is, but it does look good.
Yeah, it looks good, and I'm sure the crew will tell us how it was.
Yes. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for watching once again. It's really nice that we're growing our followers now on YouTube. You can follow us on MH Consultants on YouTube and do subscribe to us, to our channel. And please also follow us on Instagram at MH Consultants_PH. Our next topic is corporate governance.
It is indeed a very interesting subject.
Yes.
And close to my heart.
Absolutely. And let me just remind everybody that we've offered a contest out there for people to figure out what soap
Yes.
spam, it's like a tongue twister, SOAPSPAM stands for, and you can reach out to us on Instagram with the correct answer, and you may win a breakfast with us.
But not this breakfast.
Not this breakfast, something healthy, something nice. But if they like this breakfast,
Maybe they could choose as long as it's not too
yeah,
expensive.
practical, Ron, practical. Good. All right. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.